This is my water ski base. I made it on YouTube about 150 years ago, and I probably played about 150 shows on it, maybe more. This was like my main working base for a long time, and I love it. It's a lot of fun. And I was thinking about my upcoming art show. I was like, it'd be cool to kind of clean this thing off and hang it up on the wall. But then I was kind of looking at it, and I realized, like, oh yeah, that's right. I beat the living out of this thing for about a decade. So I was going to maybe try to clean this up, and then I was thinking, well, instead of cleaning it up, like, I know I could do so much better if I were to do it again with all my knowledge and tools and skills that I developed since I made this. So I went looking back into my stock room and found this. Let's make another water ski base. Now this is basically a one-day build, and the fun part of it was it's a fretless. I just kind of really just eyeballed it and roughed it all in. The video's still there if you want to watch it. I'll put a link. And you know, I just sculpted as I went. And you can see that I had to make some room for the electronics in the back. I had to bolt my strap on so it wouldn't fall off. But you can see that this is all, from tip to tail, this is all one water ski. There's no neck bolted on. What I had to do though was raise this fingerboard up, and so when I made this one, I used a second water ski. Actually, two pieces of another water ski, one for fingerboard and one for the sort of neck riser there, and then you can see there's the tip of another water ski. This is all hardware off the water ski. That was some knobs off a water ski. I had a whole bunch of them. I want to do something a little bit better and a little bit more professional, but keeping that same vibe and the same basic shape. So I'm going to use this water ski, which unfortunately doesn't have any cool graphics on it, but it's still pretty cool, and I have a couple ideas to maybe snazz up the look of it. But I do not have any more water skis to make the fingerboard, so I'm just going to use some reclaimed wood for that, and I'm going to use my CNC because I'm not a real woodworker. Remind you of anything I've done recently? First thing I had to do was take all the hardware off and clean it up, see what I was working with. Yuck. This stuff feels so gross. I used one of my last pieces of reclaimed Kummeru decking to make the fingerboard, and the piece was wide enough for me to get two fingerboards in it, so I made one at a normal thickness at the same time, and the fingerboards are actually a little bit skinnier than normal. It was kind of just part of this look I was going for, and so I made this other fingerboard, and hopefully I'll find a use for it. But you can see here that I made some kind of boat-themed graphics and used some Total Boat epoxy and a little bit of pigment to create some fret markers and make like a little water skiing scene on the fingerboard. It came out alright. I think I could do better if I tried again. One of the reasons I designed this tool was I didn't have anything in my toolbox that did stuff like this. I want to measure this angle, and I have rulers on both sides, so I can put this corner to right where my angle ends, and I can see that that's where that is, and I can kind of just pull it down a tiny bit and see that's an inch slot. So from here to there is 1 inch, so now if on my computer or whatever, I can draw a line at the angle of 1 inch, and it will match this profile perfectly. Using my measurements, I recreated the graphic in my Vectric software. So this box is 1 inch. I can just take this line and bring it down there. I didn't get too in the weeds to make it like perfect, but I got it close enough, and then I sent the files off to my friend Jeff Shaw at Ideal Green on the internet, and he has a vinyl cutter, so he made me some custom decals that you'll get to see in a minute. I cleaned off the water ski, used some tape to kind of tape it off so I could draw on it, and using my center square as well as this really cool ruler design that my friend SDM Custom came up with to sort of line everything up and figure out where my instrument lived inside this water ski. This was a lot of fun for me because nowadays I do most of this drawing and design on the computer, and it's been a while since I've actually just sort of drawn something out and then cut along the lines. I used this bass neck for my kit bases as a little reference for where I should put the tuner holes, and then just went to the bandsaw and cut it out. You have to kind of plan your cuts so you don't get sort of stuck when you're cutting something that's this much longer than the bandsaw. I sanded some of the finish off where the fingerboard would go just so I could get a good glue purchase there. I wanted to glue the fingerboard on and then use that as a guide for shaping the neck out, because right now it's just a big rectangle. I used my Arbortech Turbo Plane to do the rough shaping, but you got to be careful because this thing can take a lot of wood away really quickly, so just keep an eye out and make sure you don't go too far. I took off less than I could have with it to err on the side of caution, and then did the rest with hand tools. It is quite enjoyable to use like spoke shaves and draw knives and rasps to do this sort of thing. I get it, I love it, but you know, when you're doing it for a living, it's nice if you can have the CNC do some of this for you. It's starting to feel pretty good, so now we have to figure out how we're going to lay out the hardware and electronics. I don't really mean to make my videos look like commercials for the tools that I make and sell, but I really do use them all the time, and I design them for this type of work, so that's why you see them appear all the time as I figure out the exact location of where my bridge goes, and then I also need to figure out how high it goes. That's why I made those tools. I thought it would be cool to try and incorporate that foot adjustment into my pickup design and make it actually move a little bit, although it won't be super useful. But so I took some measurements to see if I could fit a pickup on top of it, cut that thumb sort of paddle out of the way, and got that plate ready to accept a pickup. Took a little playing with, but I think I got it all figured out. I ended up having to remove those white risers though, just to give myself a little more room for the pickup. I also wanted to make the electronics a lot cleaner than the last one without all those pieces of wood covering the back to make room for the wires, so I thought the simplest way to do it was this little trick that you can use like a Stratocaster style jack plate and flip it upside down, and then you don't need as much depth. So I figured if I just did that and I could run a wire from the pickup to the bridge to there, I should be able to do that without having to drill all the way through the body or anything. That was the plan at least, and I came really close to succeeding. Almost made it. We can fix that up, no worries. To make my life easier, I just decided to drill that hole out a little bit bigger on both sides, and that will give me room to work the wires. I planned on putting that aluminum fin back on anyway, so I just put it on the back to cover that hole. And now we're just about ready to finish this thing off, with some finish, that is. I don't do a lot of sponsored content on my channel because I take this sort of thing very seriously, and I'm not just going to sell you something if I don't actually use it or believe in it or like the company. But this project, I started it, I wasn't planning on making a sponsored build, and I realized as I was opening up my bag of Total Boat Halcyon to start putting on the finish that this was the perfect video for my friends over at Total Boat to be a part of. I contacted them, they were all in, so here we are. Total Boat is one of these companies that I proudly endorse because I use their stuff all the time. I know them, they're great people, I'm like friends with them, I hung out on their boat. And it's the perfect product for a guy like me because they make these finishes like this Halcyon Clear, and it also comes in an amber finish. They also have some paints as well, some biodegradable soaps. All this stuff they make with the earth in mind. It's designed to be durable enough to be on a boat in the ocean out in the sun, and it's designed to be safe enough to be on a boat out in the ocean underneath the sun. So that's why I use their stuff. You should too if you care, and you can use the code TOTALTIMSWAY to save, I can say that better. You can use the code TOTALTIMSWAY to save 10% off anything in the store at TotalBoat.com. Back to the show. I wound one of my scuba diver pickups, I guess that's like a series of pickups I make now, and epoxied the heck out of the wires on there with Total Boat 4-minute epoxy. And then I used some Starbond CA glue to stick that right to the plate. And that was all I did. So now it's just time to wire it all up, which I had already gotten all that stuff prepped out. And I'm leaving that top wire exposed like I have on my other sliding pickup pieces. This one isn't really a slider, it just can move, but you know, it's just for fun. I then got in my custom graphics that Jeff Shaw at Ideal Green made for me, and there was a little plastic dinosaur in there. I think it's a Pokemon thing. Thanks, Jeff. So he actually made 3 of them because it was a 3-color kind of thing. So he just made each color 3 times and mixed and matched. I picked my favorite one. In this way, I knew if I screwed up, I had another one. And did my best to stick it on. I'm terrible at this type of stuff, but I managed to get it on okay with only a little bit of difficulty with the really small letters in my logo there. I had to kind of piece together an E a little bit, but it all went together pretty well. And I had Jeff just run the stripes longer than the board, and I just kind of eyeballed cut them to the tip. Came out really good. I'm excited about that. Thanks so much, Jeff. If you're not in the know, the brand name of the water ski is Cypress Gardens, and the other one I have had the sticker on it, says Cypress Gardens on it. This one said Cypress Gardens on that sort of rubbery stuff that I took off, so I know it's the same brand, but it just didn't have the decal, and I thought the decal was a really nice touch. But since I was making it, I figured I'd put my logo on instead of theirs. I don't even know if they're still in business or not. Hopefully they don't sue me. I was excited to put this together, and I didn't have any flat wound strings on me, so I just used these round wounds to get it going until I remembered to bring that pack I had at home saved for this. And so I set it all up and realized I needed to cut away a little bit more of that sort of thumb flipper on the foot adjustment to not get in the way of the strings. And then I also noticed another problem. I was afraid this would happen with this wood base and whatnot. This pickup is just a little too thick to get my action down low, and my strings are hitting it. Fortunately, I've been working on this, which we're going to talk more about in future videos, but this pickup should fit right in there. Yeah, that's a $2 bill. My next video will be about those pickups, and it's not really the ideal pickup for this instrument, but I figured I'd just put it on for now since I'm just putting a little super glue on to hold it there. And I might make another pickup for it in the future. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit more once we get some tape wound strings on this thing and give it a listen. Pretty happy with the way this came out. There's a couple things I like and a couple things I might change. I love the total boat finish. I think it looks great, and I also want to thank my friend Jeff for recreating these sort of 70s looking graphics with my logo. Jeff is at Ideal Grain. You can follow him there. He did a great job on that, and I really like the simplicity of it. It's nice and clean looking compared to the last one. I like no knobs. I kind of dig that. But I think this instrument will be better served with a volume and tone knob, so I might add that, or I'll swap out this pickup. This isn't the pickup that I wanted to put on here. It's not quite the right wind for this instrument. There'll be a video about these pickups coming up probably next week or the week after. And so I might do that. I might add some sort of tone controls, or maybe make another pickup, because I do have this whole big plate to work with here. I could make maybe a humbucker that's like 2 flat, thin coils. I'm not really sure yet, but what I don't want to do is make the decision right now. I want to hang out with it a little while. I've got some time before my show to figure out what I want to do with it. So it's going to sit like this until I know, and maybe I'll film what I do, maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll find out. Hey, thanks a lot for watching, and be good.